Everybody, welcome again to Daily Distinction. Glad you are here. We got a special guest today, and it's my compadre from the Ultimate Summit. Hey there, Pennington in Dallas, Texas. How you doing today, sir?
All right, Scott. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. I'm chomping at the bit. I got a couple things I'm getting wired in, waiting for delivery, but we're gonna have a great time these next few days with the Ultimate Business Summit that's coming up.
You know, everybody thinks like virtual is so much easier. They all think it's like virtual is supposed to be easy. Hey, good to see you, Donovan. Thanks for being here.
Brian's all ready to go too. I think Brian was one of the first guys to register when we start talking about this. Brian's here every day, so appreciate that. So, Randy, I'm going to jump into it here with both feet. You sent me an email, and I ended up getting on a conference call and didn't get a chance back. But absolutely fascinating that what you were talking in terms of people, small businesses having an incredibly difficult time hiring people. Could you get into that a little bit? Tell me, it would seem like there's so many people out of work. You could find whoever you want if you're in a small business today.
Well, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, so I just bought, my wife Mary and I just bought a new home. We're in the process of renovation. I mean, literally, they started the demo this week. Hey, Charles, how are you? And they started the demo this week. So I have somebody working, one of the tradespeople, and I'll tell you, he's one of our chimney sweep mafia people that has been to the summit before. And he said, you know, he said, I apologize that I'm so late getting back to you on things. I have 3 openings and I can't find people to fill them.
Wow.
And he said, I'm working sun up to sundown, just doing the work, trying to do the other stuff. I've got 3 openings. And so here's what I figured out. First off, in the trades, somebody can't go from waiting tables at Chili's to working in the trades.
Right.
And so, I mean, so a part of it is the people who are out of work are not necessarily the people that you need to work.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so, you know, in the Dallas-Fort Worth market where I live right now, everybody is totally just hammered in the trades. I talked to my pool cleaning guy last week, and we were chatting about his colleagues. He said pool builders and installers in this marketplace are booked out till April of 2021.
Next year, yeah.
And so there's nobody, I mean, the people that you need to work are not the people that are available to work. And so a lot of people are having trouble with that right now. I saw Cheryl Eisenhower on the page. Cheryl lives with that stuff every day.
Yes, she does. She does that. Yeah. Unfortunately, in Vegas, there's not a great demand for magicians, right? I can't fix me, but I can pull this out of the hat.
I know where you were headed with that, and it didn't start with an M.
Yeah. Well, yeah, never mind. Discretion's the better part of valor, right? We ain't going there. You know, Randy, it's fascinating that I was booked to do a full speech for a swimming pool company, and they called and said, we postpone this to next year because our people just don't have the time to attend a 2-event. Building pools, they're building them. You know, to your point, they are booked through. As long as they can dig the hole, they can. You know, they're booked, and it's just fascinating. So what do they do, Randy? And by the way, if you're not a regular viewer, we have a bunch of folks on here. If you're not a regular viewer, and thank you for that, Mike. If you're not a regular viewer of Daily Distinction, Randy and I and Fred Wingate are the principals of the Ultimate Business Summit, which starts officially on Thursday morning. We had to be together tomorrow evening. If you haven't registered, just go to ultimatebusinesssummit.com. We will take your registration right up until the meeting starts. And what we try to answer questions. So if I'm in one of those trades, the question is what do I do? I mean, how do I fill these gaps?
I've actually thought about that, and I've had this conversation, Scott, with one of our intensive people in the summit. Um, and really, there's only three choices. One choice is you turn down the business. And who wants to do that, right? The other choice is that you manage your customer expectations. So for example, one of the reasons why this person came back to me was because he had sensed that I was getting frustrated. And I wasn't getting frustrated with not having him show up. I was getting frustrated with not having the information to know what the expectations were.
Got you. Yeah, yeah.
And so had he said, I'm really slammed, it's going to be a week from Tuesday. I promise we'll be there a week from Tuesday. I would have gone, okay, it's not what I wanted, but
at least, yeah,
I know. So some of that you can manage that expectation, and I've seen that already. We closed on this house back in this new house that we're renovating. We closed back in June, and we're just now this week starting the demolition because it took me 3 weeks to get on the schedule for the contractor after I selected him. To start the work. So as long as we know what the customers know, that's an option. Here's the third option. You've got to become, and this is to the point of what makes a company distinctive to candidates.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? How about if you went to the marketplace and offered 15% more money?
And most business people, and I say this respectfully, think, oh my gosh, I can't raise my wages 15%. But I think you have a different view of that, Randy, that might drill a little deeper into what really happens.
Right. So let's think about it. First off, everybody in that world knows what they're making. They all know it. I mean, if it's a $15 or $20 an hour job, if they're making about that. But if you said, hey, normally you're making 20, I'm going to pay you $22.50 an hour. Now, first off, do you think you're going to get some people's attention who are saying, I'm not going to leave here for, the same money, but 10% more, 12% more? Okay, now we're talking. And then here's the real key, I think. What if you could get more? What if you attracted better talent that you could then leverage and manage into higher productivity? Could you make that money back and then some?
Yeah.
And I'm not suggesting that's the case for everyone, but it could work in some situations. I mean, so yeah, expectations is important, but if you really want better talent, you've got to get their attention. Good people still have jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you going to get them to come to you? How do you attract the good people? And that's part of the way. And would you book an additional number two if you were the one that was 3 weeks rather than 6?
Right. It goes back to the things you talk about with being distinctive. First off, no company says, hey, come work for us. We treat you like crap. Although a lot of them should.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. And you won't even attract people by come work with us. We treat you like every other place treats you. Right? I mean, there's no compelling reason there. If the pay's the same, the treatment's the same, the opportunity's the same, then I'll just keep what I got. I mean, there's no reason to change. Unless Cheryl, we got a couple interesting comments here, Randy. Cheryl says time to get more trade schools going. And I hope that's something. See, Randy, I know that you're involved in this as well. I was on many years on the advisory council for vocational education back in Indiana, and very involved in vocational education. And I think it's, Gerald Ford He was then director of education, because still then it was the health, education, and welfare, so it wasn't even a separate education department. But he said we need to vocationalize the liberal arts and be more liberal in our thinking about vocational education. And I haven't seen much of that happen in the 50 years since he made that comment, but he was certainly right in what he needed to do. I think there's a lot of parents wish that their kids would have had a more regular liberal arts education, but I also think there needed to be and needs to be a holy cow, you can go to, as Cheryl's talking about these trade schools, you can go to a trade school, you leave with no debt, you leave with the ability and the probability of a really good job, and your lifetime earnings can be really pretty significant in those positions, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, I've seen some people do some really creative things. One of my clients a couple of years ago, Scott, couldn't find concrete finishers for anything. I mean, they just couldn't find it. So they actually went to high school and started a summer internship program out of the high school. And they went and worked directly with the high school, sort of bypassed the trade school, and said, we can teach you to do this. So you can try a little earlier. You can do some of that. You can, but somewhere you've got to grab the attention. I mean, the trade school, years ago, I worked with this electrical contracting group, and the guy that owned the company carried his cards with him everywhere he went on weekends, and he would go to Home Depot and Lowe's and everything, and he would find somebody that seemed like a really good worker that offered good service, and he would go up and hand him his card and said, "Hey, do you like working for this company?" And they go, "Well, yeah, it's okay." He said, "You want to make more money?" "Yeah." "I'm an electrician. I'm an electrical contracting company. Give me a call. I'll put you to work as an apprentice and send you to school and pay for it."
Wow.
And guess what? A lot of people took him up on it. It's like,
I bet they did. And if you find somebody that's good at Home Depot or Lowe's, they're going to be good customers to begin with. They're going to be okay when you put them on the job dealing with your customers, because you've already as their customer. I really like that. A couple comments. Janice over in Houston says, "I saw something similar. My new HVAC ends were behind, but since I'm working from home, I've got patients, like they kept her posted and all that." Tim, who has a great live stream every day, says, "I took a road trip moving our friend Craig's car to Texas, treated like Gold Labor Hotel. I walked in offering large tips." There you go. Imagine what you get if you leave, or if you gave more. When you give more, you get more. And Tim, to follow up, the word tip was originally an acronym that means to ensure promptness, which, to ensure promptness, you give it before, not after, which is where it kind of got messed up. Because now it's an assumptive part of the close of the situation, but really tipping was the way that you ensured those people were going to take care of you. And I've never thought of that tip in the clerk. Randall's got a great one here for us, Randy. Henry Ford simply line to $5 a day to keep good employees because attrition was previously for 100%. It goes right to what you're saying.
And Scott, so you remember that last year at the summit, we had some folks from a client of mine out of Colorado, custom-made meals, and they were at the summit last year. One of the things that they're doing that I just love it, because it is showing people that they're really important. So one of the things that they're doing is, if someone tests positive for COVID, that first off, every employee that comes to work every day gets tested. It's just the way it is. But if someone tests positive for COVID, these are hourly employees. First off, they send them home and pay them while the test is being done. And they pay everybody on the line, everyone that they've come in contact with. They send all those people home and pay them. Don't take it out of their sick time. Don't take it out of their paid time off. They pay them to go home and be tested. And when you think about what that message sends,
sure,
people are going like, thank you. This is amazing. But here's the deal. Here's where the CEO, his name is Dale, gets it. He said, look, it costs me, if I send 4 people home, it probably costs me $500 for 4 or 5 days for testing.
Sure.
It cost me $500, maybe $1,000, whatever. Am I going to risk shutting down my entire operation because I didn't want to pay $500? And I think that's pretty smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Boy, that's just fascinating to me. And it shows that we care about you. We don't want you to make a decision between your health and your job. And it's back to, you've heard me, if your employees are your greatest asset, why do you treat them like an expense? And there's somebody who is investing in their employees and treating them like assets.
And he even does, because they have a large number of temp agency people that come to work. These are $12, $15 an hour job people in a lot of cases, and hard workers and want to come to work, but they don't come to work, you don't get paid. And he says, I don't want you to have to worry about coming to work sick because you're afraid you can't feed your family.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. So somebody comes along with another job offer and offers them $1 more an hour. Not everybody, but most folks are going to go, no, I'm not leaving this guy. He'll take care of me if things go bad. Right? I mean, that's right. What I would assume.
And more important, not that he will take care of me, he did take care of me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, great to see you. Glad that you were here today. Charles is liking it. And by the way, I wanted to show you what Charles said a little bit earlier. We didn't get a chance to get to it. In San Jose, you can do the whole, but you can't find a city inspector to approve everything else. And that's us too.
Well, and some of that, Charles, I'm getting all kinds of new material from this renovation that I'm doing.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, we just installed it. I just put a new tankless water heater in the house and what have you. And the inspector wouldn't come to look at it. But Here's what he did say. He said, because we're not allowed, with the virus, we're not allowed to go in people's homes. I said, well, nobody's living there. And he said, but we're still not allowed. But, and so here was the cool part. We did it all by, I took photos and texted them to him, and he did all the inspection by photo. And he said, I don't want to put you at risk. I don't want to be at risk. I understand we have a need to get this done because we can't move to the next thing without this thing being done. And he said, let's figure out a way to do it. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah. Wow. I could even see you, I mean, with face, you could take the phone and let him do it live, show him what he needed to see via that. Randall, you're right. We all need a skill. We all need a skill. Boy, this will show it. Randy, I remember one of my mom's favorite stories was that one of her favorite singers, Perry Como, who I'm sure many of the people watching go, Perry Como, never let his license as a bar expire. And I looked that up a few years back, and I wondered, was that a mom thing? But no, it really was. It was really true that he never let his barber's license. He was a barber that was covered singing and became a very, very popular singer, had his own show on NBC, was a big star back in the late 50s, early 60s.
Right.
And but he never let his barber's license expire. He always wanted that if he lost his voice or something happened, back to his trade. And to Randall's point, the liberal arts majors as well. I mean, my degree's in political science, but it's not like I went out and got a job in politics right away. I kept at the radio station. It's so true. My dear, most, at least some people, want to be treated well, even more than they want a bit. Mike, Charles, Coach Michael, skipping college for trade schools. Not everybody needs college education. You just can't use anywhere. Hey, Dale, good to see you. Here's somebody, our
Yeah.
Ultimate Business Summit. Glad
Look forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, we'll see him tomorrow night at the VIP event, and we'll be talking more about this through the summit. Randy, let's take we've got about 8 minutes left. Let's take just a minute to talk about the summit. I'm last year that we're going to be doing it. It is the first year that we're doing it virtually. Tell me, what do you think? I mean, virtual format is going to be different, but what do you feel is going to be different about this year's summit, and what's going to be the same about this year's summit, and why are those?
Well, let's talk about what's the same first, because I think that's really important. You know, I heard you and Larry. By the way, you and Larry were great yesterday, Scott.
Oh, thanks. We had fun, and we are too.
I could just take Thursday afternoon off and go lay by the pool. You guys did such a great job. But what will be the same is you get the three perspectives.
Yeah.
And we're all different, so that's the same. What will be the same is you're going to get your questions answered. We all bring tons and years and decades of experience, and you will get your questions answered. The third thing that's going to be the same is the things that you receive from the summit are going to be actionable ideas that you can go and implement. And so if you only, if you've got 25 ideas or 100 ideas or whatever the number is, if there's 3 of them that you can go and do, there's 3 of them that will probably make a dramatic difference in your business. So those 3 things are going to be the same. And I think that's the hallmark of what's made this a successful event. So what's going to be different?
Russell's got one.
Yes. I can wear sweatpants with my blazer. Russell, I'm just so happy you decided to wear any pants with your blazer, because that's an improvement over how you used to come to the summit in Vegas, with just the blazer on. I'm kidding you, Russell.
Brian, you should have gotten an email last night. If you do not have your email yet, send me something and I will get it to you, because if it's your email with the link, then we need to make sure we get that to you, because there is a link. So please let me know about that. Right?
Right.
Hey, go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
By the way, another thing that's going to be different, and the live summits is just the 3 of us. We are bringing in exceptional people to be a part of this. That's different in a good way. Mark Sanborn, one of the best leadership people in the world. Joe Calloway, one of the great thinkers around. Lisa Ford, the platinum standard on customer service. And for the VIPs, Simon Bailey is going to be coming and participating. That's going to be a little different. We've never done that way before. I think that's different in a good way. I think the other thing that will be different is it's going to have a little bit of different feel, but you'll be able to access the information the way you want to access it in real time. And so you're not going to have to play with Vegas. You're not going to have to play with lines. You're not going to have to worry about hotels or where you're going to eat or any of that stuff. It's just show up, bring yourself, be present in the moment, and get ready to work.
These work better when they're unmuted, didn't they? I had to sneeze. I hit the mute button. I had to turn it back on after I sneezed.
I'm not sure what you said, but it looked like it was amazing.
It was really profound. I want you to know. No, what I was saying was, now I got a second chance to say it. What I was saying was that this year also, for the first time, if you sign up for the VIP, then you get the recording of the summit. And one of the things I noticed that happens, and I never said at a meeting, but then yes, like Randy will be talking, Larry will be talking. It'll generate a thought I need for my business, so I write it down. But what can also happen is start thinking about that idea, and there's a couple minutes there that you might not be as attentive at what's been said next because you've been thinking about, oh gosh, that's a great idea. I need trying to catch back up with the conversation and where it's going. And that's one of the things I love about being a recording event, because I not only can I go back and listen again to what spurred that thought, which might generate another thought or a deeper thought, a better thought, but I also don't miss what came right after that. Might not have been so because I was captured in that moment by that concept that I needed for my business. So yeah, Cheryl is right. We need a mute button in real life.
Absolutely, Cheryl. So
Scott,
Kirby,
I appreciate that. Having the recordings, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So Scott, let me ask you, have you ever, I mean, not that speakers ever give the same speech twice.
What?
But have you ever heard a speaker give basically the same speech a year later and taken something completely different away from it?
That's such a great point, Randy. I mean, I try to walk 2 miles every morning and get up every morning, walk a couple miles. And I typically listen to Jim Rohn or Earl Nightingale. And I've heard many times, and it's amazing to me that I'd hate to predict the 50th time I've heard him say something, and I go, oh wow. And I think it's exactly, and I think, don't you, it's kind of that combination that, I mean, both Jim Rohn and Earl Nightingale have passed away. Neither one is with us anymore. So what's changed isn't what they're saying. What's changed is circumstance or where I am at that particular moment. And now what not have had application the other 49 times now hits me. Or it hits me in a different way because my circumstance is different. And now I have a insight from that same information. I've mentioned it here for the folks that watch all the time, but I've mentioned it here is, I can't imagine our ministers standing in a church saying, we've been talking about this Bible thing for weeks. We're not going to talk about that anymore. You've heard John 3:16 before. You've heard all this before. Let's talk about new. No, that's not. We keep going deeper into the content. And by going deeper, it enhances understanding, or you can hear the same verse again. And because your circumstance is different, your response to it is different. And I'm not trying to make this sound like the Bible, but I think there is an analogy there that even if you and Larry went up and said exactly the same thing, which we're not, but we could, and people would have a different reaction to it because of COVID and because of what's going on in the economy and what's on in our society and our culture, they would have a different reaction to it because where we are, we're all of us different than we're just,
I think one of the great things, especially for the people who sign up for the VIP piece of this, for the summit, is imagine being able to go back a year from now when hopefully COVID is not locked us down the way it has, when things are moving back towards something that we think is familiar. And I'm going to talk a lot about that at the session, Scott. But imagine being able to pick that up and listen to it going, now I get it. Not because it wasn't valid then, but because my business needs it now. And having that resource. And that's where the transcript and the recording of all this is going to make all the difference in the world, I think.
Hugely valuable. Well, Randy, thank you so much for spending time. I know I'll see you tomorrow at our VIP evening cocktail get together and chat that we're going to have to kind of kick it off for the VIPs tomorrow night. And then the official green flag, I'm from Indianapolis. The green flag drops on the Elder Summit on Thursday morning. Go to ultimatebusinesssummit.com. You can see what you can do at the initial price there. As we mentioned yesterday, enter the coupon code SCOTT, you get $100 off. And if you entered Randy Scott, you might get the same. Hey, look at it, my friend. I can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. So thank you for today, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Great. Hey, thanks everybody for watching Daily Distinction. I'll see you again tomorrow with Daily Distinction. But please remember the Daily Distinction on Thursday or Friday because of the Ultimate Business Summit. But I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here. Thank you for being here. Thanks to my guest, Randy Pennington. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next Daily Distinction.